For more, we can cross to our reporter, Antonia Kerrigan in Beirut. Antonia, you were out reporting yesterday near the Israeli-ordered evacuation zone. Tell us what's the latest on the ground.
Well, yes, yesterday I travelled to Saida, which is the city described as the gateway to the south. It hasn't been considered part of the combat zone as of yet. However, in a 10-kilometre radius, towns were evacuated newly yesterday. There were strikes within about 11 kilometres of where we were yesterday, as well as pounding of the Nabatea region. One air raid on Zebdin struck a house where emergency workers were delivering bread, and an ambulance that came to bring help to the wounded. 5 were killed in this attack alone, and our local fixer we're working with here in Lebanon, in fact, lost a cousin among those emergency workers. Now, I'd also like to talk a little bit about the many bereaved people we met yesterday in near Saida. We were at a cemetery which is for displaced people killed in the ongoing strikes, and this is for people who come from the south, who would wish to be buried in the south, but who for now their remains cannot reach the south, so they are laid to rest in temporary burial zones just outside Saida. The families we met, they'd lost people in just the last few days, including one woman who lost her elderly father, as from the town where he was displaced, he was travelling back to check his home was still standing in Nabatea, and on the road he was killed in an airstrike. That's just one of the many stories in that graveyard where they say they bury between 7 and 13 new people per day, including some Hezbollah fighters, yes, but also a lot of civilians, a lot of civil defence workers and soldiers in the Lebanese army. Now, Israel has boasted 650 attacks, 650 strikes on different targets during the course of the week. The Lebanese death toll is currently being declared at around 3,500. And the more we talk to residents, the more we're seeing that the grief is just absolutely omnipresent.
And Antonia, Lebanese officials have been negotiating with Israel to try and end the conflict, but that's drawn the ire of both Hezbollah and its backer, Iran. Tell us what's the latest we've been hearing from officials.
Well, of course, the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has accused Iran of trying to use Lebanon as a bargaining chip in their negotiations for a ceasefire on their side. They say, Joseph Aoun has said the country belonged to the Lebanese people, not to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. And the Iranian foreign minister has hit back, calling on the Lebanese government to save the country from what he describes as their real foe. Now, although the Lebanese government insists the only way out of this crisis is diplomacy, many people were unimpressed by the ceasefire announced Wednesday. As, of course, Hezbollah pointed out, the negotiations took place with, quote-unquote, someone who wasn't there. That is to say, Hezbollah were not involved. And crucially, the credibility of that announcement on Wednesday was very quickly undermined as Israel absolutely did not cease fire. They absolutely did not cease attacks on the south of the country. And since Wednesday, of course, it's even intensified with, for instance, the strikes we described yesterday. Even the parliamentary speaker yesterday described the initial deal with Israel as a trap and an unjust deal. So it's extremely difficult within Lebanon, as of course Hezbollah are not on the same page as the government. Hezbollah were not included in those negotiations, and so far Israel have not shown the good faith to back what they agreed to in that ceasefire deal.